So welcome to Tuesdays, Fridays, Heroes. I really appreciate the media coming. You know, we've been doing this for 8 years, Employee of the Week and Fridays Heroes, and we always do it on Friday. That's why we call it that. With the hustle and bustle of the transition and everything, we wanted to make sure that we got these awards presented. And so we're having to do it on some odd days in the last couple of weeks. So I do want to again thank the media for coming and all the stations for highlighting. This is my favorite part of the week. I just love this. This is one of the things I will, I'll miss being your mayor, and I'll miss this. This is just a lot of fun every week to stand up and brag on our employees, brag on our city, talk about our heroes and all the things that they do to keep us safe. So this will be one of my last ones, and it's a good one. We're starting off with Employee of the Week, and our Employee of the Week is my Veterans Liaison, Roger Newell. And this isn't his first time to be Employee of the Week, but it's well-deserved, and I'll tell you why. We've made a really intentional effort to make sure that we honor veterans in this administration. When I was in state legislature, I was made aware that we have 170,000 veterans in New Mexico. We have Kirtland Air Force Base, Cannon, Holloman Air Force Base. We've got all kinds of folks that serve their country. In fact, if you checked with our fire department and our police department, you're going to find a lot of veterans who continue to serve in those capacities. So we think it's really important that we honor their service, not just as veterans, but honor their service post active duty, trying to lift their community up, and Roger has really done that. He served his country, obviously. He is a Purple Heart recipient. He's our Veterans Liaison, and he has been since December of 2011. He's former active duty and Reserve Air Force. He was the state commander for the Military Order of the Purple Heart. So if you were there for the Veterans ceremony, you'd see him with his brothers and sisters from the Purple Heart group. And he serves as the National ROTC Officer for the MOPH Youth Program. He is the recipient of the Distinguished Flying Cross Medal, an award that recognizes his service as a C-123 Loadmaster in Vietnam in September of 1967. As I said, he's a Purple Heart recipient, combat wounded from that same day in 1967. After his career in the military, he earned a master's in physical education for special needs children from Springfield College, and he has over 20 years in both the public and private sector education industries. And while he has served as my Veterans Liaison, Roger created a number of initiatives that we thought were important. One of them was the Veterans Hiring Initiative. We have a lot of veterans that come back and they're unemployed. We have a lot of jobs at the city, but if you've ever applied for a job, you know that not that many people get an interview, and if you don't get an interview, it's hard to get the job. So this program that we put together with Roger basically puts veterans at the front of the line. If you apply for a job at the city of Albuquerque and you are a veteran, you will be guaranteed an interview if you have the basic qualifications for the job. So you just automatically got moved up to the top 8% of applicants, and you have to earn the job, but that interview is really important. Since we started that in July of 2012, we've hired over 400 veterans using this hiring initiative. He's also been instrumental in spearheading the transportation initiative. We have a VA hospital in Albuquerque. We have lots and lots of veterans, and a lot of these veterans have medical needs, but if you can't get to the VA, it doesn't do you much good. And we've worked really, really hard to end chronic veterans homelessness in Albuquerque, but we still have a lot of people that can't get there. So we created a program to provide free rides on any ABQ ride bus that we have with a VA card. Since we started that, and Roger was instrumental in that in 2014, we've given almost 2 million rides to veterans to get to the VA. In fact, last year alone, we were up 600,000 or so. Right. He's also been pivotal in the role in the endowment of the Freedom Award granted to the Albuquerque Police Department in 2016 and the Albuquerque Fire Department in 2013. I tell Roger, to be a good veterans liaison, I probably don't necessarily want to see you sitting at your desk. I want you out in the community. I want you getting out there. Now, if somebody calls and they need VA benefits and they can't get them, well, Roger does help connect them to their congressional representatives and other things. But he's really been out in the community working hard on this. One of the really interesting things that he and Georgia came up with were these veterans walls at the senior multi-generational centers. And so many of the media have covered that, and I really want to say thank you for that. Since that program started, Roger has put together packages for 288 veterans who are frequent users of our senior centers. And he will take photographs from their time in the service. He will take a current photograph and put together a little bit of a story, get that thing framed. And if you go to our senior centers, you'll see walls of these veterans. And it does a couple of things. It honors them and it honors their service, but it also acts as an inspiration for our community, because if a young person or someone that is looking towards the future, or somebody's just looking for inspiration that day, they can go into the senior center and they can read stories, and they may have never met these veterans before, but they get inspired by that. And the really interesting thing too is that Roger has set up with this, and that Georgia has, when these veterans pass away, their picture doesn't come down. It will stay up there, and it'll have a black ribbon across it so people can remember them for a long time. And when you see the face of a veteran who's being honored at these, man, you're just really making someone's day. So a lot of things Roger has done to make Albuquerque a great place to be a veteran and to honor that service. And so therefore he is one of our last employees of the week. And I think what we're going to do is do that. But first, what I want to show Roger is Roger spent all of this time building these veterans plaques to go on these walls for these 288 veterans. And so Georgia was so nice, and she put together as a surprise for Roger his very own plaque with his picture here from Vietnam in 1967, I'm assuming, and then his picture today as the Veterans Liaison with his story. And we'll let Roger decide what wall at what center he wants this to go on. And so Roger, I just want to say thank you. We've got a mug for you, and we've got the Employee of the Week certification that we do each and every time. But this is really something special, and I just want to say thank you. You've really gotten out there and done a great job for our veterans, and this is well deserved. So
I appreciate it.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Georgia,
you want to say a couple words?
Congratulations. Really, Roger has put his whole heart into being the Veterans Liaison. And with this plaques that he has created for our veterans that attend our senior centers, the pride and appreciation is so evident in their faces and in knowing that they are appreciated, especially our Vietnam veterans. So Roger, you did it almost single-handedly.
Thank you.
So congratulations, you deserve a great deal of credit. Thank you.
Oops. One of the things I'll do is I'll invite the mayor-elect to lunch tomorrow, and I'll tell the mayor-elect that the city of Albuquerque has had some version off and on of veterans kind of connector folks over the years, and want to thank the folks that have done that. But I'm really going to encourage the next mayor to make this a full-time in the mayor's office doing this kind of work, because I've it really is important work, and it really is something that's been needed, and it really is a full-time job. So that'll be some of my advice to the new mayor. So Roger, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
I don't have enough hands here.
Yeah, that's right. No, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Awesome. So let's talk about our Friday's hero today. And today's Friday's hero is Officer Sean Reese, who is right here. Officer Reese, who you got with you today? Tell us.
This is my wife, Vivian Reese, and
Gotcha.
then Stephen Mays is right here.
That's his son.
All right. Gotcha. And
This is Van Pexa and his mom, Dana Pexa.
excellent. Chief's here.
Chief.
And let me have my Olympians introduce themselves real quick. Go
I'm
ahead.
Van Pexa, a special athlete. I do horseback riding, basketball, and paddle hockey.
Gotcha. Kenny, what do you tell us about you?
I do bowling, swimming, ball hockey.
Looks like you won at least one.
Yeah, for bowling.
That's awesome. So this is Kenny Patton with me today as well. As I mentioned last week, we've renamed this next award to something a bit more local, and now have named it Albuquerque's Hero Award, just because it's not on Friday this last couple times. And with that, today we're recognizing as Albuquerque's Hero Police Department Officer Sean Reese for 17 years of dedicated volunteerism with Special Olympics New Mexico. I know that we have Oscar Solis here today as well. Is Oscar here? Oscar's back here. Come on up, man.
Come on, Oscar.
Come on.
Come on, Oscar.
Yeah. I know Randy couldn't make it today, but these Special Olympics is doing great work. With over 20 years of service with APD, Officer Reese is accustomed to hard work and dedication, certainly. Being an officer has its challenges, but it also has its rewards, like helping folks that are in need and working hand in hand with community members just to make better lives. Officer Reese not only does that on the job, but he also does that in his personal life as a volunteer for Special Olympics New Mexico. As I said, for 17 years, Officer Reese has faithfully volunteered as a coach for Special Olympics softball, poly hockey, volleyball, and bocce ball. He has also served as an escort in the Special Olympics law enforcement torch run and fundraises regularly to benefit the athletes. His selfless commitment to the Special Olympics has undoubtedly touched many individuals and made a very positive difference in the lives of our Special Olympians. True heroes aren't just ones who save lives, they're also ones who selflessly make meaningful differences in the lives of others. Those, without question, do more than what we ask them to do, even as police officers, and that by itself is an awful heavy lift. For his professionalism on the streets, his dedication to the community, and his unwavering service to the athletes of Special Olympics New Mexico today, we are honoring Officer Sean Reese as this week's Albuquerque's Heroes. And if you've forgotten, I didn't bring my phone with me, but if you've forgotten, last year, I talk about this as often as I can, we have a kindness app for the city of Albuquerque where we now have 460,744 acts of kindness that we have logged in our community. So we'll share an act of kindness, and we'll tell folks that this is a free app. It's called ABQ Kindness. You can download it on your iPhone or on your Google phone or where your Android or whatever you got. And let's get out there and be intentional. In fact, I need you gentlemen to help us with this. I'll talk to you about it later. And we want to log that act of kindness, but just really with a lot of appreciation for what you do as a police officer and what you do in your community. You're this week's Friday's Hero, and I'm going to have Chief say a few words.
I'm going to say it from here if it's all right,
Right,
Mayor.
right,
That
right.
way they don't go through the crowd.
Sure.
Is that
Go
all
ahead.
right? Sean, first of all, thank you for what you do, but thank you for the connection between the Albuquerque Police Department and Special Olympics.
Thank
You know, I'll look back on my last 3.5 years as being the chief here as this is the finest moments, and it's our time we get to spend with the Special Olympians. Thank you for your dedication, your service to the city of Albuquerque, not only as a police officer, but as a volunteer for Special Olympics. You know that we hold them very near to each and every one of us. It's one of the events that we enjoy the most of the things we get to do here at the Albuquerque Police Department. So thank you for that connection. And Oscar, thank you for your leadership over at Special Olympics. We appreciate everything that you do too in making sure that we are connected so well to Special Olympics. So thank you too.
Oscar, I'm going to have you say a couple of words. I'm going to surprise you and talk about something. Or that's one. I'm sorry. I'm going to ask you to say a few words. But Officer Reese, what we have here, gentlemen, is it's a Friday's Heroes coin that we commissioned 8 years ago, and it says Mayor's Public Safety Heroes Award. It's got the city seal on one side, and it's got police, fire, and emergency management on the other side. And we just give this as a small token of our appreciation for what you do in our community. Just really grateful for the fact that you would step up and be a police officer, that you would serve your community each and every day and do it so well. And we just are grateful for you. And so from a grateful mayor and a grateful community, we say thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So a little unscripted. Oscar, come up, because I would have had Randy do this if she was here. You know, Special Olympics is in need right at the moment, and there was some funding cuts, some fairly severe funding cuts for Special Olympics that we would like to just. Would you be able to tell folks this increment? This you're asking for donations from the community to try to help with this funding gap. Could you speak to that at all?
Sure.
Like tell folks maybe where they could go if they decide that they'd like to help Special Olympics. So there's basically about a $310,000 cut on funding this year from the state appropriation, and it's really impacted what Special Olympics has been able to do. So you have a campaign to ask the community to do what you can to help. You want to tell us about that a little bit?
Sure. So we,
Come on
we
up here a
did
little
have. Thank you. Sorry, I'm not as tall as Mayor.
That's
here,
all right.
we did get our state funding cut, which affects our games. So what we've been doing is we've been trying to rally the community all over the state to help us save the state games in 2018 and beyond. So we've put together, as Mayor Barry mentioned, a campaign called One Up to save our games, and our athletes have been leading it. Our law enforcement officers through the Law Enforcement Torch Run have been rallying to raise more and more funds, and the community in general has been amazing in getting the money to our program to help continue the games all over the state and year-round. Our athletes, they train year-round in Olympic-type sports and all over the state. And it's donations through the One Up campaign and through our efforts from law enforcement and that help do that. So
How do folks give if they want to?
if they, we have a website, sonm.org. There is a link to donate, or they could always call the state office at 505-856-0342.
Special thanks for the athletes for coming, helping us celebrate our great officer today. Thanks for your leadership, each and every one of you.
Thank you, Mayor Barry.
It's been so much fun working with you as a mayor
Thank you.
and coming down to the events. It just makes my day every time. So thanks for being here.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your leadership. All right, thanks everybody. Appreciate it.